Here's a little debate that is bubbling under in South Africa about what is the actual unemployment rate in South Africa. The government will tell you it's 32.9%. That's the highest in the world.
32%.
32.9%, the highest in the world.
We've been up there for a while.
If you look at the USA, they hover around 4.55%. Most of Europe is the same, as is the rest of the world, in fact. All right? They're all around 4.5%, 5%. And here comes South Africa, 32.9%. The CEO of Capitec, who has 24 million customers, 24 million people with Capitec accounts. He says he seems to think the unemployment rate is more around about 10%.
I saw this headline and he made mention of the less formal economies in our townships.
The informal economy. Gerrit says 10%, the government says 32.9%, which they've been saying for a very, very long time. Okay, so how reliable are the stats at the end of the day? But when you look at a man who's got 24 million customers, that is half of South Africa's population almost. They know the activity coming in and out of these accounts. But what you've got to look at is the definition of unemployment as well.
That's it.
Okay, let me give you the South African definition. The South African definition is you're employed if you work for another person or an entity under specific terms and conditions for remuneration. That's the definition of employment. And we would think, okay, so you've got maybe a 9 to 5, a 8 to 5, a 8 to 4, Monday to Friday. By definition, that means having a job. The United States, that has a 4.5% unemployment rate, the definition of being employed in the United States, someone is considered employed if they work for pay, either for an employer or in their own business for at least 1 hour per week.
Sure.
So you can see how they can skew their stats. Now, 1 hour per week, if you're working for pay, yes, you would be living in abject poverty.
But according to that definition, you are still employed.
You are gainfully employed.
So you are lumped in then with people who are working every day, full time.
Full time. So this is where we can own goal ourselves with our own stats. Because what is the definition? Is the definition the same all around the world? No, it's not.
Again, just points to the importance of words and understanding them. Because
Exactly right.
what would America's unemployment rate look like if they had defined unemployment by South African standards?
Exactly right. Would they be 35, 40% unemployed?
So we must always make sure that we're comparing apples to apples.
Yeah.
So someone who has an odd job, for example, maybe gardening for someone
Employed.
once or twice a week for an hour,
In America, you're employed.
would be considered employed.
Yeah. They did the survey, African Response did a survey, and this is what they revealed. They said, among all the respondents who classified themselves as unemployed, they classified themselves as unemployed and looking for work. 41% of them said that they are earning up to 15,000 Rand a month through income generating activities such as baking, building, hairdressing, and doing all of these things. So that's where the definition goes sideways, because you think, I've actually got my own business, but I'm not working for somebody. That means I'm unemployed. And they shoot up our stats.
So what, is it time for us to broaden our definition of what being gainfully employed means?
Well, I mean,
Because there's also the reality of how unequal of a society we live in and people's very real struggles.
For sure.
Which are linked to, I guess, the employment numbers as well. So there's
Yeah.
also the very real reality
yeah.
of our country,
Yeah.
you know?
So this is just going to be an interesting debate to watch from the sidelines, as all the people with the figures and facts at hand, when they can come all together and formulate what's the real number.
Yeah. because there's so many different types of unemployment. I mean, there are people who, are educated, have degrees, have actively looked for work for 10 years and then have stopped because they have not been able to find work. Where do they then fall, Do we give up on them completely because there's no opportunities?
And also, by definition, the South African definition of being unemployed is also, if you are unemployed and actively looking for a job, you become part of the stats. If you are not looking for a job, then they don't even count you.
They don't count you.
They don't count you. If you've given up looking for a job, then you're not considered. You're not part of the unemployment stats. So, ours are all over the place.
Yeah.
But again, when you're comparing us to the United States, you think it's extremely prosperous for them to say that you are gainfully employed if you only work 1 hour per week. 1 hour per week means you are employed. We're not using the same parameters here. So look, I hope there's more that comes out, and more people get behind this, and because 32%, is that real or not?
And clearly we still have lots of learning to do when it comes to our township economies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of value there.
Trillions. They give a whole bunch of stats on that too. Trillions and trillions of rands.
So many types of businesses
that
are popping up all the time, actually.
Yeah. So Gerrie Fourie, the CEO of Capitec, he's scratched something there that needs a little bit more of a look into.
You almost want the government, private sector, and the Capitecs as well to come together to give us like the real numbers.
Exactly.
Because they've both got so much valuable information
exactly right.
that can be distributed and shared.
And again, when you've got 24 million customers, you see what's coming in and out of accounts
now
all the
it's
time.
not just your opinion.
No.
You can see what the numbers are doing, where and how are money being changed hands.
It's not a survey of 2,000 people that constitutes 60 million. No.
Like, I want to hear from Yoko.
Yeah.
Like Yoko, come to the front. Because they are so much a part of kind of the small businesses of South Africa that make up a lot of these numbers.
With all due respect to a car guard, you would consider that person unemployed, wouldn't you? He's out there hustling.
But we found out recently thousands being made a month.
They're making 8 to 10 grand a month. They employed.
Yeah,
they're entrepreneurs.
I see them as employed.
Yeah.
They are
I just
working.
didn't know how much they were making.
Yeah. Are we always as bad as we are made out to be? That's the question.
Kfm Mornings.